The human heart is a lot like the seasons. Stories figured that out long before we did. What we call Demeter's winter isn't just about a goddess running the weather. It's about how a parent lives through a loss and how the world keeps that parent company in the grief. You know the story. Persephone, daughter of Demeter, goddess of the earth, crops, and abundance, is picking flowers when the ground splits open and Hades pulls her into the underworld. In that instant, the sky changes color. The earth's breath gets shallow. Demeter goes into mourning, and the world enters winter with her. It's a tale that turns a mother's cry into climate. But notice this. The myth isn't just a kidnapping story. It's about how humans negotiate with the moments we can't control, how we survive by turning loss into a rhythm. When Demeter stops everything, she's really telling the world, I've lost something. Business cannot go on as usual. That sentence still works in modern life. When a parent looks at the clock at home and says, I can't go to work today, it's not just an excuse, it's joining an ancient ritual, a reflex to protect the heart. In the language of grief, the first move is to stop. Silence the phone, close the curtains, toss the to-do lists. That's how Demeter's winter begins. Slow down, dial it to zero, find your breath. Parenting sometimes teaches you to stop more than to push. In Persephone's descent, the detail that gives us chills is the pomegranate seed. Hades gives Persephone pomegranate to eat. Whoever eats the fruit of the underworld is tied to it. That single bite is like the mark trauma leaves on the body and the nervous system. Once you've tasted it, you're bound to return. The label changes in psychology, the symbol changes, but the truth holds. Some pains knock on your door again. That's not fate, that's memory. The myth whispers, don't hate the cycles, learn to run them. Then Hermes enters, the go-between. With quick wings, he works like the gods' legal department and speaks fluent negotiation. Persephone will spend part of the year with her mother and part in the underworld. That's how seasons begin. Here's the sharp lesson. There is no total victory. A good life is usually a good deal. In parenting, relationships, career, and making peace with your own body, most answers aren't total win, but sustainable balance. You can't erase winter entirely, but you can discuss how long it lasts and how spring returns. Hermes' wings are the modern person's negotiation power. Set boundaries, build rhythm, plan the return. Think about Demeter's first days of mourning. The earth withholds abundance. Seeds wait. It's as if the world takes a breath and throws out that frantic calendar that pretends nothing happened. The modern version of this pause is simple, but takes courage. After a blow-up with your kid, instead of drowning in parental guilt, you stop. You say, I don't have the capacity to talk today. Winter is a ritual of closing. A child admitting they were wrong, a parent admitting they were wrong, both being able to say, not now. Those are winter's words. Then the mind asks the counter question. So how does spring come back? Spring returns because grief isn't a destination, it's a path. Demeter stands because she ties her pain to the universal. If she trapped the loss inside herself, the world would stall and she would too. Instead, she spreads the pain across the seasons. She builds ritual. In psychology, that's meaning-making. Meaning doesn't shrink pain, but it makes it carryable. For a parent, meaning is the brave answer to, what kind of order do I build after what I lost? Bring back the weekly family dinner. Create a small corner at home for photos. Redesign the holidays. That's how Demeter's candle stays lit. Persephone's two-world life looks a lot like the double lives young people juggle now. One self at home, another at school, a third layer on social media. Descent to the underworld is every teen's retreat inward, when that bedroom door closes and a private language forms in the quiet. Persephone sometimes wants to stay there. The dark is familiar because it gives a soothing sense of control. But without the upper world, there's no wholeness. That's why Demeter's voice matters. Come back. It's not pressure. It's an invitation to rhythm. A parent saying, "Dinner's at 9" isn't a hollow rule. It's Hermes' wings, the bridge between two worlds. The myth also tells the power of community. While Demeter cries alone, the world goes rigid. People go hungry, animals weaken, even the wind sounds different. Grief is contagious, but so is solidarity. One of modern life's worst lies is that pain is a private matter. Number. A child's crisis with a teacher shifts a school's rhythm. A loss at work shakes the whole department. The ones who see it and speak up bring spring faster. Mourning is a shared responsibility. Soup left at a neighbor's door, a "I'm here" text in the group chat. These are simple but wildly effective Hermes gestures. Back to the pomegranate. Those red seeds on Persephone's lips shatter the fantasy of full recovery. The myth doesn't sell us a romantic spring or hide the shadows. That honesty is psychological gold, because the human brain craves story, but it needs the right story. The right story says healing is cyclical. Some days are flawless, some days are fragile. In that zigzag, we build our resilience muscles. Resilience is like Demeter's farmer muscles. Turn the soil again each year, bury the seed again, wait, then harvest. Waiting is a skill. In a world addicted to instant results, it's the most revolutionary skill of all. So what are the myth's direct parenting cues? First, name the absence. Demeter doesn't hide her grief. A parent who can say, "I'm sad today," shows a child that feelings aren't shameful. Second, set rhythm. Persephone leaves and returns each year. Families build trust by knowing their own rhythms. Evening routines, weekend walks, a quiet Sunday once a month. Third, draw lines and negotiate. Not everyone will feel like they won, but everyone should feel respected. The split of Persephone's year is not about perfect justice, it's the pursuit of balance. In parenting, the list of "we can compromise here, we won't budge there" is Hermes' protocol. Fourth, call in the community. Winter is colder alone. Shared winter grows meaning. When we face loss, the myth holds up its hardest mirror. Demeter never gets her daughter back completely. The heart understands this, but the mind resists. The person you lost may not return. The child who left may not fully come back. The innocence of a relationship may not be rebuilt. But something does return: meaning, gratitude, rhythm. Spring comes back. The flower isn't the same flower, but it blooms again. The myth doesn't say replace it, it says rebuild. That difference is huge. Replacing freezes the past. Rebuilding invites the future. The second major lesson hidden in Demeter's winter is the source of power. She negotiates with the gods through famine, drawing power from the system's core, abundance. In modern life, power in negotiation runs on time and attention. The parent who takes back their attention takes back the home's rhythm. 15 phone-free minutes at the dinner table is a family's Hermes agreement. It sounds small, but it changes the seasons. Children are watered by attention. The quality of attention is the practical face of love. It's easy to demonize Hades, but the myth doesn't draw him as a one-note villain. The underworld is dark, yes, but it's also orderly. It's where the boundaries live. The underworld moments of adolescence and early adulthood are labs for identity. The dark is scary, but it's also fertile. Persephone becomes a queen there. She isn't only a victim. That detail teaches the parental art of stepping back. Not every shadow is evil. Some shadows belong to growth. The art is telling dangerous dark from creative dark. That's where guidance, boundaries, and trust work together. In the Myths dictionary, spring doesn't just mean flowers. It means debts paid, promises kept, rituals completed. If you want to call spring in, keep small promises. Say, we'll have breakfast together this weekend, and do it. Say, tonight I'll give you 10 minutes of pure listening, and follow through. These small promises are the sun above ground. Big change is built from these small acts. Demeter's plow looks big, but what opens the soil is patient parallel lines. In some tellings, Persephone eats the seeds on purpose. In others, she doesn't realize it. That ambiguity reminds us of a tough truth. Sometimes, what we think are choices are made under the shadow of circumstances. Instead of going back and beating yourself up with, "Why did I do that?" it's better to write the story forward. Here's what I'll do now. The myth suggests turning the reckoning with the past into an action plan, not a blame ledger. The sentence you speak today sets the season for tomorrow. Demeter's winter is a public notice of pain and also a teacher. It teaches the ground this: a seed doesn't die in the dark. It gathers strength. The human heart works the same. Like houseplants that thrive in low light, it can find direction in the dark. In parenting, the most powerful moments are often invisible. The "I'll be patient" whisper a child never hears. The tear held behind a closed door, then wiped away before setting a plate on the table. Rituals are our shields. Not heavy metal, but small, persistent moves. Now think about why we still tell this myth. Because the same cycle keeps happening every year in every family, shuttling between winter and spring. The drift and return of a relationship, a child swinging between "you don't get it" and "I'm glad you're here." A loss wavering between "today is hard again" and "today is a bit lighter." Demeter's story isn't a sweet fairy tale, it's a resilience protocol. It exists so you won't be shocked when winter knocks, and so you'll remember gratitude when spring returns. Don't forget, in this story, Hermes isn't only a courier between gods, he's the modest miracle of language. Good words and clear speech can be as transformative as any high tech. I can't do that. I need this. This is my limit. These sentences change a home's climate. When we say what we feel plainly, the underworld and the surface hurt each other less. Silence has its place. But if the deal is failing, call Hermes. A shared time, a shared rule, a shared no. Remember that Persephone grows and flourishes between two kingdoms. She's no longer just Demeter's daughter. She holds her own crown. The hardest scene in parenting is here. One day your child asks, "Who am I?" and writes the answer, "Without you." Demeter's most regal move is to keep tilling the soil and prepping spring for each return. The door is open. That sentence is parenting's shortest and greatest prayer. Finally, there's a way to invite this myth into our own lives with 3 small practices. 1. Choose a personal winter ritual, a simple repeating act for hard days, a short walk, brewing tea, 1 page of writing. 2. Hermes sentences, a clear, short line in a conflict. Let's pause now and talk at 8 tonight. 3. Spring prep, a weekly gratitude list. What's returning? What's staying? What's growing? These aren't fairy tales. They're tiny programs for your nervous system. Demeter's winter teaches us how to keep living without denying loss. When winter comes, don't be ashamed to shut things down. When there's a descent into the underworld, don't panic. Build a bridge. When spring returns, don't act like nothing happened. Celebrate with the shadows you've met. Because strength doesn't belong only to the light. It belongs to those who know the shadows. Each time Persephone leaves, she comes back a bit wiser. Each time she returns, a bit more whole. So do we. We may not be gods of our homes, but we are farmers of our rituals. Every small seed we plant is a promise of the next spring. With Demeter's patience, Hermes' speech, and Persephone's courage, we don't freeze when winter comes, and we choose not to forget when spring arrives. A good life is learning to make peace with the seasons. And in the end, inside every winter, there's a spring waiting to be called back.